Hello and welcome to one of the bravest endeavors we've ever set upon. The Kraven the Hunter versus Morbius Spoilercast and review. Today, we're going to figure out which of these movies is worse. Because frankly, I couldn't trust anyone else to do it. And no one else did do it, because no one watched both films.
That's fucking true.
Yeah, no, it is. Sony will tell you themselves. We have with us Bob.
He's really craving out.
Dr. Aggro.
Whoever wins, we've already lost.
And Chris Wolfhard.
One below par.
And that's right. We watched both, and worse yet, I think I've seen Morbius 3 times now.
Wow. Wow.
Better than the alternative.
Whoa, one moment, spoilers! For anyone who hasn't joined us for a Spoilercast review before, what we do at the beginning is we make a guttural sound to show how we feel about a movie or a game or a thing, and then we get into it talking about various nuances and stuff, and we give a score on a scale of 1 to 10 at the end. Oh wait, 0 is technically on the table too for this series. I think we've done it once ever. Wait. It has to be in here somewhere. Yep. Aggro really enjoyed Secret Level. But since this is versusing 2 of them, and unlike other times when we've done this, we're not doing 2 whole podcasts for this. This will be a slightly briefer version of this. So, let's get into it with the guttural sounds, and we're going to insert a brief summary after that of the film's plot, so that way you have a framework to work with when we discuss this, because again, we know you didn't watch Morbius.
They put it back into theaters, so you could, and you still couldn't. You still didn't go see it.
Well, yeah, they were still busy. They could just need to get in there again.
Yeah, they need to put all 3 of the Sony Villainverse movies as marathon showings.
Yes, the Marvel-thon. Let's fucking go.
Marvel's like, you can't fucking use our name.
Our lawyers will be there imminently. Well, let's go ahead and get into it with the guttural sounds. Let's start with Dr. Aggro. Dr. Aggro, give me a guttural sound for Morbius.
Morbius was a project that had every advantage and just didn't have it within it.
Bob, video games?
I used to think Morbius was like as low as you could go for a comic book movie, basically. I think I'm pretty wrong now, but I'll give it a...
Chris Wolfhard.
Morbius feels like a movie made by people who simply don't give a shit at all. Ugh.
Morbius is fascinating because upon the 3rd time viewing it, all I can see is the weird insert shots that someone at the studio said they needed to put in, and the weird ADR lines that someone at the studio insisted that they have them say to either make the plot make sense or make Morbius seem like a better guy. What a trip of a film. I'm going to give it a... And real quick again, I know. You didn't watch Morbius. Someone at Sony jumped out a window because of this. It is so rude of you to have not seen this movie either time. Even if you saw it for free on Twitch. So, let's get a summary real quick of the plot of the movie. Our hero, Michael Morbius, invents a substitute blood, revolutionizing the medical science community. After this, he decides to, own the medical science community on stage to impress a small girl who stays at his medical research center. Unclear. And he decides to fix his own medical problems by mixing DNA from a bat with human DNA because he has a condition that means he needs constant blood transfusions. This turns Morbius into a monster, killing a bunch of people on a boat. Don't worry about it. When he returns home to his brother, but not really brother, Milo, they demand the cure for their ailment. However, Morbius won't let him, so Milo somehow self-administers the spinal injection, becoming firm and superhuman instead of infirm and Doctor Who, and dances to a song about having sex, but doesn't actually have sex. PG-13. The movie concludes with them having a big fight, and there are 3 post-credits shots that introduce that the Vulture has somehow invaded Morbius's world via the shenanigans that happen in Spider-Man No Way Home. I feel like we hit everything except for not noting the weird cops that are barely in the film.
The best part of the movie.
I mean, the comic relief is one of them, and he's like, you know, there are this many pints of blood in the human body. Do you think he drank it all? When's the last time you drank 2 12-packs of beer? That's it. They kind of just wander around the movie doing that and being the scary cop.
They do feel like in a movie that had a more interesting idea, it would follow them.
Yes. They'd be in the movie and the girlfriend wouldn't.
Yeah.
In a movie, I feel like you could stop the sentence there. Because this movie, Morbius really does feel like at some point early in development of this film, everyone's like, this movie's going to bomb. Who cares?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I can no longer look at Morbius and be like, it's not a movie because I've seen Kraven.
See, we're going to have an amazing discussion because I think Kraven is by far the most movie-like of the 3 Sony movies.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Whoa.
See,
you are a broken person.
And I can't sign up for them not caring because there are whole scenes inserted into this film because someone cared in the worst way possible way too much as they're like, okay, so here's the scene. Morbius is in a cafe. He's talking to love interest lady, and there's a crime low-key happening as a dude tries to pass a counterfeit bill to a lady, and she realizes it's fake, immediately using a basic ink pen check, which is really bad as counterfeit money goes. Holy shit, you're not even making counterfeit money. You might as well print paper and say, take this, bitch, or I'll shoot you with this gun. He then follows that person to their headquarters to have a cool scene where he does justice. But between these 2 shots, they insert a shot of Morbius happening upon some EMTs entering a building and leaving their medical supplies on the doorstep so he could take his own invented fake blood from them to survive. Because someone at the studio went, well, he said he needs it every 6 hours. How is he getting the blood? And they're like, well, we better just film him finding blood. And then no one will ask this question. And I'm like, okay, I have a bigger question. Why did you film that? He's supposed to be trailing criminals right now. A scene, which I would also like to know, really not integral to the story, that involves him beating up random counterfeiters and saying, I'm Venom, to scare them, which also doesn't make sense, because it's been years since I watched Venom. Did Venom even get publicized in the Venom movie? Do people know who Venom is?
No.
Why did
Broadly,
this happen?
No.
There was a lot of things that confused the hell out of me.
When I say that it just feels like everybody was resigned to it, there's stuff that, like, the bullies in the flashback that bully these terminally ill children. I feel like at some point there was probably supposed to be a physically visible aspect to their illness, because they call them freaks. And I understand children are monsters, but it just feels like... It feels, it's one of those things that feels like, well, on the script it says they call them freaks. It's like, well, they look normal. It's like, well, that's what the script says. Just fucking film it.
No, those bullies are symptomatic of this entire film. No one in it is a human.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
not at all.
You have the sick kids getting bullied. Yeah, that's terrible, but it's conceivable. These are 3 school children standing out in front of their school across the street from the hospital, pointing up at a 2nd or 3rd story hospital window, shouting, look at the freaks.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it doesn't make any sense.
At all.
No one in this movie reacts to anything or has a drive recognizable as a human being.
Yeah.
And when you combine that with all of the different events that take places in certain locations because they have to for the movie to have made sense, but it doesn't seem motivated correctly, it comes off as truly bizarre of like, well, he needed to moor about on the boat over international waters. And in order to make it okay that he killed a bunch of people, the security guard will come down to the medical lab and just be a misogynist.
Yeah, it's
I don't
part
know
of the
why
part
they
of
were
this. Like, I feel like we're at the point as a society where the conflict should no longer be, am I playing God?
Mm-hmm. Oh God, yeah.
His goal, like his thing, he's doing this so he doesn't die of a horrible illness he has had since birth.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, but it's so ethically questionable. Why?
Right?
If you were doing it to someone else, maybe.
She was like, but at what cost? Shut the fuck up.
What cost? Health?
It's so dumb. It's like Silver Age, like origin story dumb of like, oh, I've identified the specific gene that synthesizes this blood coagulant. I have taken that gene and spliced it into my DNA. Now I have vampire powers.
Yep.
Yeah, and the whole plot thread of the artificial blood isn't working anymore. It's reducing. Why?
Because apparently it's good enough for normal
Because
people,
we need a story.
But it's not good enough for Morbius.
I think it's also weird that it's like it needs to be human blood. It's like the bats don't drink human blood.
No,
like
vampire bats definitely only feed on other vampire bats. That's what they're known for. That's why they're so scary.
Like, I feel like a good enough point of conflict between him and Miles, not Miles, Milo. I say Miles. Would have been Milo is like the hedonistic party guy. Like, even when we meet him when he's still sick, like he somehow fucking became fabulously wealthy. They don't really go into that.
No. One might say they don't really go into things other than jumping through fucking hoops to make scenes happen.
I feel like a good enough conflict would have been, well, you get superpowers if you drink human blood. Morbius is drinking the artificial blood, so he's just like a normal guy. Because he's like, well, if I drink the normal blood, I have Olympic athlete level abilities versus Milo, who will drink human blood and be a superhuman. I feel like that's a good enough point of conflict. You don't need to engineer this weird status quo where the artificial blood stops working.
Yeah, it's just there to be there and cause more issues.
Like, I feel like they had a bigger red-blue thing going on with it that got stripped out of the movie because there's a lot of visual red-blue going on.
Yeah, no, the city
doesn't
changes.
like tie together well.
This viewing was the viewing where I was like, wow, yeah, every time they cut to the city, it has a completely different idea of how it looks. Like, in a lot of the shots, it'll be nothing but red and then some yellow. And then in the next scene, it will be nothing but blue. Like, they went out of their way to color correct the movie to do that. And then the movie doesn't really go into that at all.
Yeah, and then they make a really weird mistake of halfway through the movie when he gets the blood in the prison cell from Milo, it's already red blood. Like, that's actually human blood. So then,
is it?
The thing at the end of the movie where he actually drinks the human blood and Milo makes a big deal of that is like, but he did that already.
He did that a bunch.
Yeah, he did that many, many times.
But he didn't drink it straight from someone until the end, and that's huge.
Well, no, he did that first thing.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't willingly do it.
That's the idea.
God.
The most confused vampire movie ever made.
Yeah.
Also, real quick,
you strip...
before we get too far away from it, because I know this is obvious to me, but some people, the Morbius aesthetic is purple. So the red and blue thing, that's... So anyway, okay, aggro go.
Yeah, no, you're right. And he's using Magneto's M shape. It's just, it's all fucked up.
Fucking insulting.
It is pretty messed up.
If you strip everything that is actually in this movie out, the framework, like all of the concepts, the actors involved, the admittedly competent cinematography, this movie should have been like good. Like, not great, but it should have been like this campy goth icon of a movie. Like, it rips off everything imaginable. So many of the shots in this movie are lifted straight out of other films. Like, the Batman Begins isn't here, the Matrix isn't here. They go for it, but there's nothing inside this movie. No one gave a shit about making this project. It was a checklist. So you have all of this competence and all of these interesting concepts going down the toilet.
Yeah. Really, for me, we borrowed this, please don't notice, is possibly funniest when he's in the Bat Chamber. And they even have to use the same lighting that they used in Batman Begins when he's in the dark well.
Yeah, maybe
it's like, why does it need to be super light blue with a tornado of bats and you looking up and saying something about becoming a symbol of fear borderline?
They're even doing like the blah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the maybe be a little less direct. Just a little.
Just the slightest. Dude, you didn't even file off the serial number. What are you doing? Really, really impressive in that way because this script is the most flaccid thing. If there's one thing between these two movies, it's that the script is a complete failure.
Yes.
Mhm.
And it doesn't involve teenage girls stealing a spider. Number one shortcoming of Kraven the Hunter and Morbius is that they do not feature teenage girls stealing a spider.
Man. Madam Web is just such a chat.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
God.
Yeah. It's,
God, we're not talking about Kraven yet, but I am going to remember Milo and Spider-Man from Madam Web a lot more than I will ever remember Rhino again. I almost forgot Rhino before we did the recording
Bob,
today.
We're not.
I understand.
We're not there yet, Bob. We're not there yet. I'm so excited to be there, but we're not.
So a theme with both of these movies is that they're very video game-esque.
Yeah, the way I was about to compare the movies is less that they're like movies, more like you ripped all the cutscenes from a video game and watched them without the context.
And some gameplay, like how Morbius flies.
Yes, he just prototype flies for no reason.
Yeah, no, Bob's right. He's flying like Prototype Man.
That's just how anti-heroes fly, I think.
I don't even think they explain how he is flying.
No. Like, is he seeing the wind? Is it vampire aether? It's on screen.
I went and looked it up, and according to a wiki, which means this was in some kind of interview or in some book they released,
Or they made it up.
I'm going to choose to believe that they did not make it up. His bones in his monster form are partially hollow like a bat's, so he can ride the air currents. So that it's him sensing air currents with bat powers.
That math doesn't check out.
This is literally the joke I made to Bob.
Right?
During that scene where I was like, his bones became hollow. Nobody punches him.
Right?
Like, boats have sails. That's why they float.
Right?
God, like...
It points which way the boat should stay. If the sail went down, it would sink instantly.
They make a big deal of getting Morbius makes the anti-Milo injection to kill him.
Yeah.
I am not convinced just shooting the guys in the face would not kill them. They're not mystical vampires.
And frankly,
in any way, these are scientific. Those are just people.
Yeah, we're not given a point where, like, it's not like Blade where we see any of these guys heal from a really grievous injury really quickly. So it's just like, yeah, I went and got the chemical that kills bats. I'm just going to inject him with it.
And yet, spoiler warning, less dumb than how this same thing happens in Kraven.
So, what I want to say about Morbius is that really, that would have been the perfect ending for where this movie's coming in at, right? Mm-hmm. Really emotional scene as the bats hold him down and Morbius just pulls out a fucking gun and blows his brains out.
That would have been
the bat Kamehameha was killing me because it's not like he's blown off his feet by it as if the bats are producing like a jet stream as they form. Like, bro, they're bats.
He even does the pose.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna like shoot the aura at him, like whatever the vampire aether is. No, it's just a stream of bats.
I was convinced, because this is the second time I watched Morbius, that the first time they did a bat beam battle.
That would have been better.
Yes. Bob's like, I'm so excited to see the bat beam battle again. Watches it. Where did the battle go?
God, none of his powers make any sense. Like he first vamps out and you see him on the floor and he's like oozing darkness. So I'm like, oh, that's a really cool effect. That's very interesting. This movie's going to be decent. And then later on, he's in the orange prison jumpsuit and now he's leaking orange. So I guess the smear tool is part of his vampire kit.
It's going back to the broad incompetence of this movie again. It's earlier in the movie. But the way they deliver exposition in this film is like if classes teach you how not to deliver exposition this way. Like, there's like 3 different points where a character might as well start with as we all know, exposition.
Yes.
We're lucky that somehow you didn't have the classic situation of we now cut to a college class that is teaching the core like principles of how the movie's going to operate.
That
and then
would have
Morbius
been
walks
better.
Yes,
That would have been better.
No, it would have been funnier, but it's the same tier, right? Where it's just like, you need to stop talking like this, film. Jesus. It's truly impressive in that way. Like in the sort of way that this movie is not the work, how do you put it? The Hollywood system overproduced, polished, no harsh edges thing, right? It's not that. It's some horribly creatively bereft monster creature that isn't even made up to standards. This is a legally unsafe home to live in. Yeah, this isn't a McMansion. This is an unwell large building.
Chris's point about the writing, I think, really well describes the bizarre construct that is this movie. Everything it does well, it does really, really well. And everything it does wrong, it checks every box of doing it wrong.
It's the screenwriting tool has those pop-ups like Blender and other things too. It's like, are you sure you want to do this? This is gonna fuck everything. Yes.
Like I thought, like it's just a process of time. Like as the years went on, we would phase out this exact laboratory sequence in movies, because surely by now the average moviegoer will understand chemistry and physics enough to understand how fucking stupid what they're looking at is.
No. Sadly, that will only go down going forward.
Well, obviously, the good thing about us getting to our summer reviews this time is we still get to bring up Morbius during our Kraven half of this.
Of course.
I would like to say a strength that Morbius has is everything's exciting because you do not know when the special effects team will give him the spooky monster face for like 1 second mid-shot. Kraven does not have this power. He delivers lines and his face stays the same the whole time. Yes, I am talking about this like this is a show for children.
Wait, are these not?
Bob Craven's rated R.
Oh, you're right.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the first R-rated one of these for some reason.
Oh, not worth it.
No, because this Morbius is only PG-13 somehow, even though he murders a boat full of people and tears out their throats and feeds on them. Oh, and he's also a spooky monster that'll make children cry.
Yeah, that's how Morbius looks. I'm genuinely surprised they made him look that way. I thought for sure he was just going to be like Jared Leto with like gray skin.
Right.
And that probably would have looked better and also cost less money. So maybe you should have just done that.
Wasn't it weird when Morbius and Milo got their comic book looking outfits for the final fight? They just like appeared on them.
Honestly, by that point, it felt so natural. Like, yeah, they don't care. Just do it. Next.
Well, again, spoilers for the Kraven half of this. That didn't happen in Kraven. He got the iconic outfit after everything.
I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of. In fact, I didn't. I was weirded out when it happens. I'm like, I don't know. I felt like the vest thing was like a good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was close enough.
I feel like every normal person who watched the movie was like, "Oh, you're doing that too? Am I supposed to be excited? I'm more of just confused." All right, sure.
I just had the thought of like, there's no way his dad ever fit in that, like ever.
Yeah, no, we need to just get to Kraven.
There
You're right.
is no comic version of Milo.
Okay,
Really?
It's just a fancy outfit.
He is not a real comic character. He's like a composite of like 4 different comic characters.
That checks out.
Yeah, that sounds like what they constantly do. So I only have a couple more things I want to go over with Morbius before we move on to Kraven 1. Rewatching this, I remembered scenes from the movie and I'm like, nah, that must have been in Venom because it would be fucking insane for him to break in to a counterfeiter operation to just beat them up and yell, I am Venom. Nope, that was this. Okay, well, he's not going to turn the girl through the vampire covenant at the end because that's not the movie you made.
I'm ignoring that happened.
I forgot that he says the I am Venom thing. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking? Why?
Right, yeah, no, once again, completely baffling Because in the movie Venom, as I remember it, is not publicized. So why would Morbius know who Venom is and use it to instill fear in people?
It's just a cool thing to say in Morbius's head. It's the only other explanation. Like, he doesn't know who Venom is. He's just...
And it's...
Yeah.
And
They're
it's
trying
such,
it out.
It's such a weird thing here because this movie is not overly long in the way that Kraven is.
No.
This movie couldn't have had a scene in that spot that was supposed to happen. They wrote, he's going to do some justice in the middle of this, so that way everyone's on the same page. He's a good guy. And that's so strange.
And they needed to set him up with a new lab. Like, they felt like that was necessary so he could have a place to make the anti-Milo drug. Wait, no. Was that even before?
I don't know if that's the same place because the way they shoot it later in the movie doesn't look the same at all.
But it is the same place because he even talks about how he wants them to leave the equipment so he can use it.
Yeah, he does say that. And then it looks nothing.
It doesn't matter if it doesn't look the same.
Okay, sure. The building transformed. It's an agent of chaos, just like Castle Dracula.
Well, yeah, he's a Morbius.
He's a Morbius, too. It is unfair how cool his coat looks. He does not earn that. It is unfair how cool this intro is. It is cooler aesthetically than either of the other Sony MCU films.
Oh, you don't mean the part where he's at the cave. You mean the actual...
Like the purple coat.
The purple introduction logo.
But yeah, no, the intro sequence is so much cooler than this movie deserves.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just really bizarre to be there because the movie doesn't really live up to that intro at all. Like when you see a Doctor Strange intro, the movie lives up to the aesthetics of the Doctor Strange intro. But this, it does that, and it just seems completely misfitting for this film.
Yeah.
Much like
it's what this movie should have been.
It is.
There's a lot of imagery in this
right.
movie that the movie doesn't live up to.
Right.
The movie that Matt Smith is over there being in.
Yeah, it's so strange. So many different elements of this film exist and they are confined to the same space, but they do not mesh. They do not seem born of the same cogent notion or whole cloth. It's like a horrible quilt that someone has made.
Mm-hmm.
Full of bees.
Bats, Dan.
Sorry, full of bats. But yeah, no, I think that's everything I wanted to say before moving on to Kraven, because obviously we can still make points of comparison then.
Right.
There really wasn't, like, I don't even fucking remember the intro to Kraven. Does anyone else here?
I don't know if I had one.
Yeah, he's in the Siberian prison.
Like a visual title sequence like Morbius has. Does that even exist in Kraven?
I don't remember.
I don't think that exists
I
in
didn't
Kraven.
internalize that.
Right.
If it does, it's the most forgettable thing because all four of us don't remember it. Did anyone else have anything else they wanted to say about Morbius before we move on to the Kraven half of this? Okay, great.
Yeah, everything I could think to say is like, no, this is something directly in comparison to Kraven, so we should talk about Kraven.
So, we should save our total number scores for the very end for both of these films.
Of course.
Of course. But
Sure.
we will get our guttural sounds out of the way for Kraven. Gentlemen, can I get a couple sentences and a guttural sound to show how you feel about the movie Kraven the Hunter? We're going to go ahead and start with Chris.
So, Kraven the Hunter is not good, but it is rated R, and being able to kill people helps a lot. Huh.
Dr. Aggro.
Kraven the Hunter is a sheet of smooth, cold glass upon which is roughly scrawled in wax crayon the outline of a film.
Bob.
This is really what we're releasing in theaters now? Like, for real? You want people to pay money for this? Are you insane?
Kraven the Hunter is an MCU action sequence that took over most of a movie, and then no money left for the rest of the movie, basically. There's some first act stuff that happens in the last 20 minutes, and a payoff to that moment 8 minutes later. What? This is one of the most baffling films I had to see. Anyway, once again, we have objective evidence. You, listener, you did not watch Kraven the Hunter. Sony executives went on the record crying about it Chris Wolfhard, will you inform them what the movie Kraven the Hunter is about?
Kraven is the son of a Russian crime lord. As a teenager, his father takes him and his younger brother on a safari to kill a super lion. Kraven gets attacked by the lion, but is saved by the granddaughter of an African mystic who gives him a magic potion that heals him and gives him superpowers. He then runs away from home and becomes a vigilante who kills crime lords for reasons the movie doesn't really go into at all. He gets entangled in the machinations of the Rhino, who wants to usurp his father's business, and things get personal when his father kidnaps Kraven's brother, who is also inexplicably the chameleon, except that's actually a thing in the comics. Kraven kills a bunch of people and the Rhino gets trampled to death by African buffalo. Then Kraven kills his dad and his brother replaces him as the crime lord because he got actual chameleon powers from the Spider-Man villain, the Jackal, who will never actually be in a movie because this is over.
Oh, they were talking about a doctor in New York. I'm like, why would Morbius do that?
Oh my God.
No, they're talking about the Jackal, who was the Spider-Man villain who created all the Spider-Man clones. So the notorious clone saga is entirely because of the Jackal. Also, one time he got Gwen Stacy pregnant.
Thank you, Chris.
Great.
Oh, and also he gets the jacket at the end of the movie, which we already brought up.
God, no, the fuck he does. Oh my God. Like, okay. The outfit he wears through the whole movie, I'm like, okay, this is the toned down, more looks like the video game version of the outfit. All right, I accept that. Then that half-assed, cowardly piece of shit they give him at the end. That there's no face on it. It looks stupid as hell. Why would you even do this?
But it's got the more pronounced fur collar like the video game.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah,
like
it looks pretty horrible. And again, there's no way his dad ever fit in that.
Bob's like, Russell Crowe could never fit in that. I will not remember Russell Crowe from 30 years ago.
I'm not going to think about the Gladiator right now.
I'm just simply going to ignore that. This movie's over 2 hours long. The parts of it are very bizarre as a movie structure goes, and I don't think it successfully creates a single arc.
It's horrified of having a love interest. Like,
That's so
deadly terrified of that.
Because, you know, as Chris said, Kraven the Hunter kills crime lords for question mark reasons. But actually in the film, he kills crime lords specifically as a favor to that lady who gave him the potion to bring him back to life. And she didn't even know he did that. The opening shot of the film, the opening sequence, is him sneaking into a Russian gulag to kill a crime lord who's in there living comfortably because that person put out a hit on this lady's, which I can't remember her name. Does anyone remember?
Calypso?
Calypso, thank you.
Yeah, Calypso, who is another Marvel glupshido. Like every single character in this movie is some random Marvel glupshido. Even the Foreigner is a Marvel glupshido who has that exact power even.
I was going to say with Calypso, though, wasn't she in the Spider-Man animated series as Kraven's wife or whatever? I think that was the name of that character because that character is performing the same roles, as I recall, of this character in the movie.
I forget. Okay, she is sometimes portrayed as as the romantic interest of Kraven the Hunter.
But just to be clear, there was virtually no even vague implication of romance in this movie until the last fourth of it, which acted kind of like a end of the first act moment or second act moment when they're out in the jungle. And he's like, yeah, here's my digs. Check out this cool place. Here's this button to reveal all these weapons. Pretty cool, right? And then they have a moment 8 minutes later where she's like, oh, I need to hit the button that reveals it. I'm like, yes, you just showed that. This isn't a payoff. What are you doing?
So did anybody actually, their brains metabolize what the movie was trying to convey with Kraven's mom?
Okay, so I'll try my best right now. Kraven's mom is mentally ill or something. She's put into a mental health institution by Kraven's dad. And during a drug sequence at the end of the movie where they realized they had no ties to Spider-Man, They have her in the vision of the drug-addled Kraven, so really not trustworthy information here. This is citation needed in the corner. She screams about spiders, so he sees spiders because we need to tie it to Spider-Man.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, they're tying it to Spider-Man and also to Morlun once again.
So I just, to be clear, I went back and skipped through the movie to go, she didn't bring up spiders quietly during any of those flashbacks, did she? And no, so what's up with Morland?
Oh, I just assumed because we talked about this on the Madam Web thing. Like, the obvious trajectory was for them to build like the villain team up movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I assumed that Morlun would have been the villain for that because he's also thinking like he wants the spider totem. And they can't actually ever have Spider-Man appear in one of these movies.
God.
Now, Bob said that he'll always remember the horrible things in Morbius, which is fair, so will I. But I will also remember Kraven javelin throwing a piece of pipe at a guy on a helicopter and impaling him and throwing him out of the helicopter.
It was a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
Also him pinning that guy to the wall with the crossbow, then leaving, revealing another guy was pinned on the open door.
That was so dumb. So many things in this movie are so dumb. It's like
Those
he
are
opened the
both
door,
great.
didn't notice a dude hanging on it.
Yeah, you opened the door, didn't notice the full weight of a human man
It's a
hanging
really
on
well
the fucking
balanced door.
Yeah, that's quality hinge work right there. I'll tell you the action sequence that sticks with me because it didn't pay off was when he's fighting the Rhino. God damn it, the Rhino. And he like loops the winch rope around him and then lassos the buffalo as it runs by.
Uh-huh.
And in my brain, like there's a good long second and a half after the lassoing, and I'm like, oh my God, he's about to bifurcate this motherfucker with a metal cable. Because
Yeah, I
that's
also
a
thought
winch
that was
cable.
what was going to happen.
It's clearly attached to the truck. No, it's not. He gets dragged out into the stampede and stepped on a bit.
The only problem with that was that it wasn't more graphic and didn't brutally kill him.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that's going to stick with me is the action in this movie. Is that every animal is the worst looking CG I could imagine being
Yes,
in a
it
movie.
sure is. It sure is.
We might be literally on par with Narnia, like the first Narnia movie.
It looks worse, yeah.
Yeah.
It's maybe worse because honestly, I don't know how they do VFX. It looks like TAA. The animals are like melting as they animate them, like especially the bisons.
Yeah,
I don't understand. They literally look. It looks like it's melting in a way that I don't think most movies ever looked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. They're doing some sort of shortcut here that's making them look worse than
Usual
or
ever, possibly.
yeah.
It's
like
weird.
I thought that RRR looked pretty bad for animal CG, but oh my God, this is so much worse.
So much. Oh, and there was also that CGI knife throw, which was really embarrassing. That's the one that sticks out to me the most, I think.
Which scene was that?
Yeah, I also can't remember this.
Oh, God. I can't remember the context in which it exists, but I think somebody's on the ground and they throw a knife, and the moment the knife leaves their hand, it becomes CG and hits somebody and kills them.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, when it comes to these action sequences, when I look back on this movie years from now, the things I'm going to remember is how funny it is that Kraven can't sleep in the apartment because there's some mild sound, the condo or whatever. There's some mild sound. So he goes out to sleep in the park. And upon him entering, he does the cool scene for them to cut trailers of him throwing the knife and the guy in the elevator being like, oh, I was going to hold it. And he goes, no, you weren't. And it's such a funny, awkward exchange. And then his brother is kidnapped during this moment. So that way, when he gets up to the condo, he can look down and see his brother being dragged out of the building. One, that.
Yeah.
Two, everything about the Rhino. Because how insane is it that the opening of this movie is just like, yeah, Kraven and his dad and his brother were out on his jungle safari. This guy's there, and he's like, oh, I'm short of breath, but, you know, we're cool guys. We could be cool guy friends, you and me, Kraven's dad. And Kraven's dad's like, no, you're weak. Out here, I'd kill you. Shut up. And that's the motivation.
I thought that was funny. I think well, if I turn off my medical device, I become the Rhino is also very funny. And frankly, I just love how shitty the Rhino looks. It feels like I went back in time to 2004 and was watching a terrible comic book movie from 2004, except that would have had better CG.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like you can go back and see the second series of Spider-Man films, the ones
The Amazing
Spider-Man, and the effects for the lizard or whatever. Those are like so much better than Rhino.
Or even the Rhino who shows up in one scene in that.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like they did work to make sure that looked good. Whereas they did not here at all.
God.
It's so funny. I love that his motivation is like everyone was mean to me. So that I took a radical surgery and medical procedure to become strong, but then it made me this Rhino and it fucking hurts.
Jesus Christ. Like, it's the Rhino. This is the definition of not understanding the assignment.
Uh-huh.
You overcomplicated the Rhino.
Yeah, how did you do that?
Yeah, the Rhino's like, I like doing crime, so I got in the big suit that lets me do crime.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
He's like the easiest enforcer to tack on to a movie, and you
Yeah, but
fucked
for
it
some
up.
reason he has to be the main villain of this one.
Oh my God, it's so bad.
Yeah.
Just like the main character's hair and accent.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
You know who this guy, like, honestly, this is when I realized the movie was fucking doomed. The first time he's going into the lawyer's office building, and I realized, oh, this is exactly how I felt watching Netflix's Iron Fist.
It is!
Yeah.
Oh my God!
There's something about him, like the way they had him build up that much. He's insanely shredded, but somehow looks unimposing and short. I think it's a part of like a mix of the way they shot it and him not actually being super tall. And when I made this comparison during the movie, Dad's like, no, I don't want to think of him as a 5'9" fitness guy on YouTube.
Because he is. He's honestly not big enough to be Kraven. Like
not,
a guy
no.
Kraven's size doing the on all fours run, horrifying. This guy looks like a C-tier ninja character that Spider-Man would just backhand.
Yes.
Yeah, but we don't have a lot of guys who are 6'8".
And we
Yeah,
don't
no,
It's true.
Like,
we are dealing with reality.
We
here.
only got like a couple Jack Reachers, you know?
Right.
Like,
Yeah, and one of them is
currently
being Jack Reacher.
Right, yeah, exactly.
The only other one I
And
can
he's
think
not
is,
even
like,
that
Jason
he's not even that
Momoa or
tall, I don't
something.
think.
No, he's just fucking huge.
I think they use tricks to make him look a lot taller. Like I think he's only like 6'2".
Because, like,
In reality.
according to the internet, which I'm not sure how much you can trust on this one, Kraven's like, what is he, 6 foot or something? And it's like, that you shouldn't look this short. I don't know why he's so unimposing, but we
Because
clearly
because Aaron Taylor Johnson's 5'11".
see. That's the thing. 5'11" should be tall enough, but somehow even buff, he
look,
doesn't.
Yeah, he's not wide enough, and also they aren't good at cinematography in
At
any
all.
way.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no at all.
This movie's
This is
so much
so-
more dog shit about framing a shot and shooting it than fucking Morbius.
Yeah, it feels completely amateurish, so it makes sense they can't have any tricks to like make him appear big and imposing. Like somehow they made Bane, the guy who's like what 5'6", big and imposing for that Batman movie.
That's really funny.
But yeah, these guys not even once. Like how many conversation sequences are shot reverse shot for like 5 minutes straight?
Every single one.
Every single one. We
Like
talked
8.
about. Okay, so there's this scene, and this is when I actually popped off during the movie about this exact thing, Bob. You'll recall. They have the dinner where it's his dad, that other guy, and then the place gets shut up. They had 6 fucking camera angles for the table before anything real happened. Cut, 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 cut. I'm like, what is going on? You don't need to film a dialogue scene like it's taken 3 and an old man's trying to get over a fence. What is happening? This thing is made like garbage.
Yeah, no, it's honestly the cinematography is closer to noobs than a real film.
Yes. I would like to note though, I have a picture here and we can all just look at it. Frankly, he's less imposing and more bro. Eat a sandwich, drink water.
Yes.
This is the exact image some like model would pull up to be like, oh yeah, I only maintained that for like 1 week because if I did, I would die.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, I'm not threatened by this. I'm worried about this.
Yeah, you can't make... We don't have a lot of people who are actually that big. You have to use these things called cinematography and framing and perspective to sell a person being big and imposing. And this is a Sony movie, so they don't do any of that.
But yeah, that was one weird thing watching Morbius again after this. It was like, wow, the cinematography is much better. They have insert shots to show things. They have all sorts of just like actually good angles.
Mm-hmm. Like I watched Morbius second, and it got the buff coming off of this film.
It really did.
See, the interesting thing to me is the point of comparison between this, because you're right, the camera work and everything there so much more professional in Morbius.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, Morbius has stock fucking arcs.
Yeah.
And this has Mad Libs as a plot.
Yes.
It truly feels bizarre as each scene doesn't seem to deliver any... Like, what's the arc for anyone in this film? Rhino's arc is the most
Nobody
cogent,
has a single arc.
and it's the funniest shit in the world of like, he went on a safari with your dad, and your dad wouldn't partner with him, and he's mad about it because your dad laughed at his asthma.
It was so funny because when I was trying to remember who the villain of this movie was, because it's been a whole week.
A long time.
For watching Kraven.
Bob, it still hasn't been a week yet.
It hasn't.
We need like 8 more hours before it's been 1 whole week since you saw it.
Because I was trying to think of any connection the villain had to the main character, and it simply isn't there. He has a connection to the main character's dad, kind of.
And that's the funniest part. The fullness of the plan as it is revealed is that he just has beef with his dad, and his dad duped Kraven into saving his brother and letting his brother get kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
What a stupid movie.
God. Okay, we need to talk about The Foreigner and how completely useless he is in this movie.
Oh, he's useless and wasted.
Yeah.
He's wasting screen time, and then he himself is wasted.
Yeah, he kind of doesn't matter at all.
And like the cherry on that cake is the scene where he has his confrontation with Kraven, and he shoots him with like the super awesome dart gun that will like totally put him down. And I'm like, okay, friend, huddle up with me for a second. Your problem is that he's too crafty and fast to shoot him.
Uh-huh.
Your solution to this problem is to bring a special gun with a slower projectile to pre-shoot him so you can shoot him. I'd ask you if you thought I was fucking stupid, but here I am watching Kraven, so I guess I must be.
Yeah, that drove me crazy. And also, this dude apparently has straight up Naruto eye powers where he hypnotizes him automatically if he looks at them.
Yeah.
Why does he need a dark gun that also hypnotizes him in a way that's not as good?
Yeah, no. And the fact that just facilitates one of the most confounding scenes of the movie of his mother then screaming about spiders, so he sees spiders.
Oh yeah, this is the dart that makes you afraid of spiders.
This is a dart that connects to Spider-Man no matter how loosely.
I just like after this, I'm like, oh, bat beam. That's cool.
Yes.
I honestly just started thinking of spiders, man. I'm like, yeah, no, we should do this in more comics. Like, I'm summoning them, the bats, because I'm bats. Wait, no. Because I'm Morbius.
Trying to pull up that image of how Kraven looks in this movie, Bob, I realized this dude, Kraven the Hunter, you know that guy, right?
Yeah.
He's Kick-Ass from the Kick-Ass movie.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I read
my
that.
God.
And I also couldn't connect it because looking at him, I can't see it.
Right.
I can't see it at all.
It's been like 20 years.
Yeah.
It's been like forever since the Kick-Ass movie. I never would have connected those dots. Anyway, back to the movie.
He was better at doing an American accent there
Than his weird Russian accent.
Right.
God, this movie, so many layers where it's like we have a bunch of British people pretending to be Russian terribly.
Yeah, it's like, why? Just change the backstory at this point.
They live in England.
I don't
I guess
know.
they fucking love it now. I don't know why they're in England. Is that a thing? I feel like it's not in the comics. I don't know.
Like
though.
that whole movie. I'm just do the accent. I don't care if it's bad. Just like this is an American audience. We're used to terrible Russian accents.
Yeah, just do a
the
terrible
fucking
Russian accent. Just do a terrible Russian accent. It would have been delightful. The actor is also the main character of the really bad 2014 Godzilla movie.
I
Where
wouldn't have
nothing
remembered
fucking
that.
happens at all.
Yeah, I wouldn't remember that because he's not.
Yeah, because that's not really the main character. I'm
That's
sorry,
not the best.
Godzilla is.
That's,
I mean, true. For Godzilla's barely in that movie. But
Yeah.
firstly, he's the son of Bryan Cranston. I'm pretty sure. I was like, I die in the first 30 minutes of the movie. I should have been the main character. Why did they do this?
The guy's in the first 10. It's really bad.
it's really upsetting.
He's also the Scarlet Witch's brother in Avengers.
Oh,
Age
really?
of Ultron.
I remember.
Yeah, he's Pietro Maximoff.
Ah,
Yeah.
Huh.
So he's their
So
version
he's-
of the fast guy.
so he's
Yep.
Quicksilver.
Quicksilver.
Yeah.
I honestly, that's so he's been playing a fake Russian for a while.
Yeah.
Now you know. I think Russell Crowe went all in on the terrible Russian accent.
He did. He did.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one.
And it's appreciated.
It's yeah, no, so many different elements of this movie are like, how did this get past any, like, the whole reason Hollywood is the way it is because there are checks for all these things. Conformative, terrible, reductive, soul-sucking checks that go, oh, you didn't pass this weird metric, you don't get to ship.
I don't
How did this happen?
Yeah, it doesn't even look like a movie. Like, it looks like a streaming show that's too dark.
Oh yeah, that's worth noting. We tried to watch this movie in the best quality possible. So we literally rented from Amazon the 4K HDR, or no, it was iTunes. We
Yeah.
ultimately went with iTunes. 4K HDR Dolby Vision version of the movie that we just spent the whole time going, why is it so fucking dark?
I can't see anything.
Can't fucking see the shit in
it's,
this
it's
prison.
supposed to be broad daylight in this African safari.
Why are you 400 nits at highest?
It's like
What is
gray out
happening?
here.
So this is like yet another time I've been subjected to, hey, the latest thing in like high-end cinema is just making an image that's too goddamn dark. Why is that?
I don't know.
Because here's the thing, getting the brighter TV isn't going to fix that. Most of that shit is in the darkest region. Getting the brighter TV will help us see more nuanced mids and better highlight roll-off. It's not going to make this look good, I don't think. We'll find out then. But it's absurd.
Yeah, no, it just looks incredibly bad. Like,
And that's on top of the terrible sub-Narnia animal kingdom in this film. So yeah, in many ways, because we already covered the composition and cinematography in general. The editing that needs all 6 shots of 2 men sitting at a table talking to have a dialogue happen.
the one that drove me insane was the park bench scene with him and Calypso.
Yes, because it was we need the shots that show their faces. We need the shots that are sort of from each other's perspective almost. We need the shots from behind. We need 2 reverse shots from behind.
But we can't get even one insert shot for showing them handing each other something.
Yeah, I did make the gesture of the video game handoff, the AAA video game handoff joke where you Final Fantasy 16 hand a thing underneath the camera.
Yes.
It's like, why are we doing this? It's a movie. Just hand them the thing and show it. Also, the weird vibes of we'll handle this in post that I got from the Rhino watching the footage from the prison. It's like, we got this. And then the Rhino just watches it. And then he says the vaguest shit in the world.
That whole thing felt like it was, in one of the other DC movies where they find the thumb drive full of teasers for other DC properties.
Yeah.
It felt like that.
Uh-huh.
But it's for the movie we're watching already.
Yeah. So really it lines up a little bit more with Civil War, where they get the footage from the street cam. Except for, imagine the script didn't know what they would show ultimately. So imagine instead of seeing it flipping out, right? He sees it, he's just like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, I should have known. Say what's on the screen!
That video is insane because it literally is like, here is the prison footage of which someone has edited to say Kraven the Hunter on it. It's like,
just so the audience knows that this is irrefutable evidence that he's Kraven the Hunter, a nickname that Kraven gave himself because the press call him the Hunter.
Right. Like, I think somebody asked him, like, why Kraven? And he's like,
Yes.
It's my fucking name. My last name is whatever the fuck it is that has Kraven at the start of it.
That shit, they should have literally just gone into a Dunkachino ad because I'm craving some Dunkin' Donuts. That would have been. This is that tier of movie, just to be clear. If there was a Dunkin' Donut ad in the middle of it, I wouldn't bat an eye. I'd be like,
I mean, there was a million ads in Madam Web. Like, this is just the kind of shit they're doing.
Also, we didn't
So it
talk
wouldn't
about
have been
it.
out of place at all.
We didn't talk about it during Morbius. What is with these Sony pictures, the giant neon letters falling?
That didn't happen in
I
this
don't
one.
know.
That happened in either I think that happened in Morbius.
It did happen in Morbius and Madam Web, but it did not
happen in Kraven.
So obviously, Kraven's doing something wrong.
Okay, I know this is sad that I have to ask. Kraven did come out after after Madam Web, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
It came
So,
out like
maybe someone
in November.
Maybe there was a scene. And they were like, we gotta get this out of here.
I mean, this movie was like basically complete reshot again after the writer's strike,
yeah.
which explains why it feels so insanely disjointed, more so than any of the other Sony movies, which are all kind of messed up like that. Like Madam Web and Morbius feel like they're messed up in different ways and had reshoots, but somehow it's even more obvious in this.
Well, in this, I think it really is obvious through what the arc and the arcs for the characters convey themselves as moment to moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then what the act you feel like you're in at any given moment in the movie feels like. Because the third act doesn't feel like a third act at all.
No.
And there's no cogent second act, in my opinion.
And the way that they introduce, like, Calypso is bizarre. Like, they do the flashback with Kraven, and then just in the middle of that, we flash over to Calypso talking to her grandma for one scene to get the magic potion to give to Kraven in the very next scene. Like,
the introduction of her character is like, oh, okay, your grandma's a mystic. She's gonna give you this potion, so that way, one scene from now, you will give it to some random white boy
that you've never met before. It's so bizarre.
And then you will move to London and become a lawyer, and we will brush over the fact that your grandmother is an African mystic that can make magic potions. That will just never come up ever again.
Until the end of the movie, it's like, oh, I was hiding something. I had more magic potions.
I had more magic potions. That's my secret. It's like, that's not a good secret.
You've been hiding this for all of 10 minutes. I'm not really surprised.
Honestly, I could have just assumed that crudely and been right.
I really like how in the flashback in the opening, Kraven is already like, we should fist fight the lion. And I'm like, bro, you're 15. What are you talking about? You should go fist fight the lion. I guess that's true. I guess that makes sense.
I mean, it would make sense if it were a normal looking lion, but the lion literally looks like it's Jack Reacher. It's fucking the hugest goddamn lion I've ever seen.
It really bugged me that he had that whole conversation about, no, we should use only the tools God gave us. And immediately, once he gets his superpowers, makes tools.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but he doesn't use them. Like, he wrestles that leopard when it comes out and makes out with it a little bit.
Yeah, but that's at the end of the movie, even though it shouldn't be.
That should have been at the beginning.
Right, because that was something where they show it and like it's going to lead into something, and then it does 8 minutes later instead of a full movie later.
Right. Jesus
Christ. The Chekhov's gun that's introduced 12 seconds before it's shot.
Chekhov, do you have a solution to this? Well, I'm going to go to the store, buy a gun, and 8 minutes from now, I'm going to fucking shoot him. Well, that's a great solution. Thank you. What I was going to say, though, is the reshoots affect that level of this film. Mm-hmm. The plot of this film. You can feel the reshoots. Madam Web doesn't feel like the product of reshoots on a plot level. It is stupid. It has arcs for the plot, and it does it. And it's disjointed as hell in some ways, but none of it comes across as we didn't know what the second act was.
Yeah, I'm not even sure the Rhino was in this movie originally.
What is the film then? I don't know. Kraven. They put it in theaters, and the movie's called Kraven Stands His Ground because the whole film is about Kraven attacking poachers.
That would have probably been a better movie.
It would have been a fucking awesome film. What's the villain? Poachers.
If the movie had just been nothing but horrible murders, like if the whole movie had operated on the guy getting javelin stabbed out of the helicopter, I would have given it the title of Shitty Blade. But it unfortunately those kind of scenes are few and far between, even if I did like the foreigner getting brained with the crossbow. He's like, now I will kill you, Crave. Arrow through the head.
Yeah, I'm okay with that brutal murder of a character, but that immediately leads into everyone else on the bad guy team just being like, he said he got him. We don't need to get the body or pick up the guy who got him. We'll just leave. We're good. The foreigner can walk home. I was like, really? That's what we're doing? Okay. Oh, well, that's okay. We still have the really cool fight to look forward to between Kraven and the Rhino. That'll be great, I'm sure. Yeah, the foreigner's completely wasted here.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, this guy's really cool. Oh, no, they can't write.
Yeah, reading his wiki article after seeing this was like, man, wait, that guy was supposed to be like is able to fist fight Spider-Man? That didn't come across.
I don't think the foreigner's able to do that. I think his whole thing was he would always run away.
He's really neat, but his introduction scene's terrible. You know, where it's just him at the Russian prison. And then that guy's like, hey, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm going to do 1, 2. And I'm just like, cool introduction to his power, but it's so dumb.
I honestly, even then, I feel like when he like goes past all the guys to start eating from the plate, that feels more like when he was supposed to appear anyway.
Yes.
Like they introduced him twice.
Yes, which is, again, that's the same location where Rhino's watching the movie, and he's like, oh, yeah, that,
Again.
oh, it's so good. He's like becoming Tommy Wiseau.
Rhino was added later.
There's a really fucking good chance this was a foreigner versus Kraven plus the Poachers film. They're like, this isn't good enough. Because, reminder, they even have the Rhino scene where he's like, my business partner has been killed. You random goons who worked underneath him, who's going to be my new big partner? This is my showcase scene to show my Rhino powers. And how weird that scene is and how clumsy that scene is.
Yeah.
Although in that scene, hats off to that one guy who, after he de-rhinos, is like, oh, well, I'm just going to shoot him now. And then, like, he admittedly takes a sniper round to the brain the second he lifts his gun, but good on him for having a head on his shoulders before it turned into pink mist.
No, that's fair. I feel like a lot of these Marvel movies would be better if we had more guys like that around. They would probably solve more problems without needing the Avengers. It's just like, oh, cool. Yeah, I would love to be your business partner. Problem, you're a monster? And I feel like I want to live in a world without those, so I'm going to blow your brains out. Anyway, there's nothing remarkable about the music or visuals of this film. I got nothing to say. I feel like I've said it all. I've said everything. I think we talked about everything other than when Kraven gets upset at his dad and leaves. We have an almost Uncharted 4 sequence where he climbs outside of the building and he drops down and his kid brother's like, what? You're going away? And he's like, I'm going away. Goodbye. I'm taking a boat all the way back to Africa?
Or swimming. I don't know. Oh, wait, no, he does get on the boat.
He took the boat. They're like, oh, running away from home? And he's like, I'm running away from home.
That boat was going over international waters. Do you think that those were mercenaries on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. He's lucky Morbius did not take the same boat. What a stupid part of the movie, Morbius. Thank you, Bob. Anyway, did anyone else have any other comments before we start getting numbers out and start yelling about which of these is better and where Madam Web lands? Fantastic. So, we're going to start with Morbius first. Gentlemen, I'm going to need some summary reviews of Morbius, followed by a 1 out of 10. And we're going to start with Dr. Aggro.
Morbius was a film with good bones and a great opportunity to make something memorable that couldn't. It didn't have that dog in it. But it's not offensive. I'd watch it again and go, Bat Beam. I'll give it a 5.
Bob.
Yeah, on retrospect, Morbius isn't that bad. It just isn't good in any real astonishing way. So I will also state it at a 5.
Chris Wolfhart.
I think Madam Web is worse, but this is still not very good and kind of confused and ludicrous. 4.
Yeah, I'm also sitting at a 4 for Morbius. It's weird because in many ways it's better put together than Madam Web, but in many ways it's just as mixed up and terrible.
Yeah, like, I think Madam Web's a more enjoyable movie, but
Same.
not nearly as well made. Like,
When it comes to Morbius, people drained every enjoyable moment out of it and made it a meme frame 1.
mm-hmm.
And none of those are as good as those teenage girls stole my spider being dubbed over an actor in a dark room looking at 2 computer screens. Nothing is as funny as how post hoc everything about the villain is in that movie. But we got to get to Kraven the Hunter now. We did our summary reviews and 1 out of 10s for Kraven the Hunter. We're going to start with Chris.
I think Kraven the Hunter is bad, but also it was comforting, and I feel like it was more shaped like a cogent film than either of the other two, even as entire plot points are just like, we don't need to cover that. He doesn't need a motivation. He just decides to start killing people. 5.
Bob.
Yeah, I think Kraven is incredibly worse than either of his other movies in basically every way. Worse cinematography, worse storytelling, less interesting characters all around. It's also longer than either. Like, it's, 2 hours, 10 minutes or something?
Yeah, it's up there, yeah.
It feels grueling to get through this movie. And it feels like half the scenes could have just been cut out and no one would care.
The scenes themselves are little Mad Libs at times, plot-wise.
So yeah, I'm giving it a 2. It is not better than Madam Web in any way.
Dr. Aggro.
Kraven the Hunter is it's amateurish. It doesn't even fucking try. This movie, they shouldn't have done it if they weren't gonna do it. 3.
I genuinely feel like Kraven the Hunter is what happens if an MCU fight scene just takes over a whole movie. It's all in service of these cool moments that aren't well set up or payoffs to anything, it feels like. There's the whole segment where Kraven goes to a false location where he thinks his brother is being held. And that didn't need to be in this film in the least.
No. I say that for a bunch of scenes in this movie.
You could rip many scenes out and no one would ever notice. It is slop. And it's not even enjoyably insane slop like Madam Web feels.
Yeah, Kraven doesn't attack a single person with a car.
It's true.
Right? There's shit in Madam Web that, like, pops.
What's your superpower? I make cars fall on people. No, that can't be. And yet it is.
Damn. Time for a new X-Men class.
I'm gonna have to give Kraven the Hunter a 2. Because genuinely, I feel like the movie's lack of a core structure makes it fall apart every given moment. The whole way, it feels like. Man, this should have had a good villain.
Yeah.
That would save a lot of it if they had an actually good structured villain.
You can't convince me that all that they had left at Sony's rights for Marvel stuff is the Rhino. That was the one that made the most sense.
Yeah, because he's like animal themed, I guess.
Yeah, that's
it.
all they connected in their head.
Like, Spider-Man has so many animal-themed villains.
Yeah, but you don't know who any of those are that they're allowed to use. Like, they can't use the Vulture. He was already in an MCU film.
They could use the Scorpion.
Also, they can use the Vulture. The ending of Morbius showed that, but it wouldn't make any sense
they can't
for the Vulture to fight Kraven.
Man, we didn't even talk about how unbelievably insane the post-credits in Morbius is.
Oh, yeah, no, it's so insane I'm damaged for life. I have a friend who says intriguing, and I can't live with that because of that post-credit scene ending with Morbius going, intriguing.
You couldn't write a joke that is more laughable than that scene.
It's true.
They should be forced to make that movie. I don't care if you have to recast Michael Morbius. Do whatever you need to do. I need a Morbius Vulture team-up movie.
They should be forced to make the Venom, Kraven, Morbius, Madam Web
Yes.
Avengers movie that they were transparently setting up.
Yes.
I agree.
No, legally, as a nation, we should have rights to force them to do that. If we're just going to become content slop nation, we should have rights to force them to make the slop legally. Anyways, that seems to be how it breaks down. This here, Morbius versus Kraven the Hunter, Spoilercast. So I'm going to go through these real quick just to make sure, that people feel this way. Bob, what is your pecking order between Madam Web, Morbius, and Kraven?
Madam Web was my favorite, but it is not a good movie.
Okay.
So technically it's worse than Morbius, but I like it more.
How about this? When we do this, we'll just do which one would you recommend people watch?
Okay.
First most to least most, right?
Sure.
Okay. So, Bob, what is the most recommendable of these?
Madam Web, of course.
And then what's the least?
Kraven.
Okay, and then Morbius is in the middle.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Aggro, same question. Most recommendable, least recommendable.
Yeah, the most recommendable vector means it has to be Madam Web.
You ever watch
Bro,
it?
you've got to see this.
Right? There's a Pepsi ad in the middle of this movie.
Pepsi is an important character, an icon in this movie.
And then, down at the bottom, there's, me jumping in front of someone's Secret Service style to stop them from watching Kraven.
Chris Wolfhart, what is your most recommendable and your least recommendable of these three films?
The most recommendable has to be Madam Web. It's just so bizarre. It has Party City Spider-Man. It has the bizarre ADRing. It has the sign falling on him. It has the fact that they used that shot of them in costumes in every trailer, but that does not happen in the movie and is never even implied to happen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it feels like an MST3K movie.
It does.
Like that tier.
Kind of, yes.
Especially the part where a wanted criminal takes a flight to another country just fine and then comes back. It's like the PSP's out. No, you didn't.
Purely in terms of... God. Morbius just feels so disjointed and full of shit that doesn't matter, and so does Kraven. But it doesn't have as much super science, so it almost slides off your brain. The least recommendable is much harder for me.
Yeah, it's not easy currently.
I'm gonna have to say anything below Madam Web is not actually recommendable at all. And under no circumstances would I. I need to make this clear. But Kraven drowns closer to the surface than Morbius, in my opinion.
Okay. For me, much like everyone else, Madam Web is the most recommendable. It has the iconic abandoned warehouse full of fireworks.
Yes!
See?
All the EMTs know about and have to be aware of.
Yes. That is true.
Oh my god! These other two movies are stupid. Madam Web is on drugs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the way to put it. There's something chemically unwell about the brain that is the movie Madam Web, because out of all three of these films, only one of it has a scene that rises to the heights of them teaching them CPR in a hotel room. Do you remember that? And how out of nowhere that is?
That's how they bonded.
So yeah, I'm going to have to recommend that the most. Kraven is longer than Morbius and has fewer iconic scenes. So I'm going to recommend Kraven the least. Morbius has all of your favorite memes, like the have sex dance, which is followed promptly by definitely not having sex.
Yeah,
That whole scene feels like it's from a movie that they didn't make.
Uh-huh.
Like there's some other movie that this one scene is from.
Yeah, when I kept hearing about this scene, I never actually saw it when the memes got posted. I just heard it happen. I was like, well, surely there's a sex scene during that. Or some implication thereof.
Depending on how literally you take literary analysis of vampire stories,
Uh-huh.
like when he attacks that newspaper vendor in the street, that counts.
That could be sexual, is what you're saying?
Uh-huh.
Okay. I generally sign up for that outside of this exact moment. I sign up for that reading of vampires 100%, that they're elites who carry on through having their way with others. But I'm going to go ahead and say that no, that doesn't count. Milo, no. I think it's really important that Milo has a whole scene where he's getting hyped because he can move and he's firm instead of infirm in Doctor Who. And he can now have sex, which is immediately followed by a scene where he notably does not have sex. He shows up at the bar, there's a lady, a guy starts a fight with them, and then instead of getting with any other lady there or doing anything else, he just murders that guy later.
Yeah, and there's no like oh, he gets the lady after that. There's nothing even implying that. That dude's not even leaving with the girl, so the girl might well have broken up with him.
It's like if the third Spider-Man film had black suit Spider-Man kill the landlord and then still not talk to the daughter.
Could this have been a really clumsy and non-functioning attempt to queer code the villain?
I don't think so.
No, because he comes on to the...
No, I can't even give them that much credit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It shouldn't affect me this much. It really does irritate me that at the end of this, we're doing the blood science movie. This is a science vampire. It's blood science. It involves DNA. He does the Covenant of the Vampire shit with the lab assistant, with his assistant, and she's now a vampire. That upsets me so much.
It's so dumb. Oh my God. When he's getting the Nobel Prize and they're like, he's the world's foremost expert on Bloodborne. And they pause too long before the word illnesses.
Lance McDonald almost took the stage. We were seconds away from that, but unfortunately they finished the sentence. Anyway, that's going to do it for this. If you enjoyed this, maybe go listen to us review Madam Web. That's its own whole video. You can go listen to that podcast right now. Thank God Sony didn't make any others of these other than Venom, right? That's it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
You never know what they could do, though. They're real stupid.
They are real stupid, but their power is waning.
It is.
When their executives have to cry about, no one watched this film. Because that happened, Bob.
It did.
I know you couldn't find the link, but it wasn't even a producer on the movie, I don't think. I think it was the head of Sony Pictures.
Okay, maybe that's why I couldn't find it.
Was literally like, that film's fine. People just won't watch it.
Yeah, it's like, no, you made an incredibly bad movie. You made a worse movie than the last two times you went out. Like, how do you keep getting worse at this?
I think he was like, they just decided it was bad before they saw it.
Yeah, that's insane. It's incredible. And it feels like those are the words of a man who's given up.
Yeah. It's like, if this is the best he could do, to stop making movies.
Kraven has the highest tomato score of these three movies.
Ooh.
That?
By 1%. Kraven has 16. Okay. Morbius has 15. Madame Web has 11.
I don't know. Like I feel like Kraven's score isn't lower because people are just tired.
Nobody saw it unless they were already brain damaged.
Mm-hmm.
But wait, we saw it.
Oh no.
This month's executive producers for GigaBoots are Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Cooper Tank, BN12, Rado, and Virvarm. Thank you very much to our executive producers, and also these guys. If you want to become an executive producer or normal patron, you can head on over to patreon.com/gigaboots today.